Okay, I want to go ahead and get going because we've got a lot, but we don't have a lot to cover. I just want to talk specifically about the power of birthdays. But I'm going to do an ebook that talks a little bit about the power of gifting and birthdays, and start creating some articles on some of the things that I've learned over the last 15 years. I'm going to tell you a story. I had a friend of mine, her brother was insurance. He worked for Minnesota Mutual and insurance, and he was a whole life. Anybody know anything about insurance? He needed an assistant, and so my son Chris had barely been born, and he asked me to come out for 2 weeks because he wanted to know if I would qualify to be his assistant and be an insurance agent underneath him. And there walks Joe. Hi, Joe. Anyway, so I went out there. When I was out there, it was really interesting. His name was Eddie LeBaron, and I've written many, many things about Eddie. And when I went out there, he had a room that was about 30 by 30, and it had shelves from the top to the bottom. And those shelves, all they had in them was greeting cards and little trinkets that you could send to people. Okay. And he had an assistant. Her name was Kay. And all Kay did was pull cards out of the shelves and combs and little small gifts. And she wrote cards, and what Eddie did every single day was take the cards home, write in the cards, and bring them back the next day, and she would send them out. And they were birthday cards. And and that was back in the days when there were no computers. There was nothing. The internet didn't exist, nothing. And he would send out thousands and thousands of cards. I think at the time back then, he was doing about $10,000 in stamps and envelopes alone. That's a lot. But he also made about $4 million a year. He never had his phone ever was, there was no cell phones. Okay. Maybe there was. No, the bricks weren't out yet. The Motorola bricks weren't out yet. But he had no listed. There was no listing in the phone book. That was how most insurance companies got their business, was through listings that people would call, and some other farming and direct mail and stuff like that, and ads in the newspaper and those kinds of things. But he had no listing, didn't do any marketing. The only thing he did is when you met Eddie LeBaron, he got your yeah, I know, Bob. I'm going to tell that story too. But and I've actually met Joe, but Joe Girard. But anyway, so he did nothing but send birthday cards out. He didn't do any marketing or anything. And all he did, when he met you, he got your birthday. He gave it to Kay. Kay would call him. I remember when he got my information, I met him in Salt Lake City before I went down there, and I got a call from Kay. Kay asked me if I was married. I said, yeah. He says, do you have any children? I said, yes. And so her job every year was to go through his ledger and make sure that she had all the birthdays in that family. And every single year, guess what would happen? I'd get a birthday card. My wife would get a birthday card. And when my kids started getting old enough, they started getting birthday cards. I think he started when they were about 4, and they started getting birthday cards. And I never bought a policy from him. Never bought a policy from Minnesota Mutual. I had some other friends that I bought my policies from. But Chris is just coming around the corner here. You're going to grab your stuff because I'm on a webinar. Okay. But I never did any of that kind of stuff. I never got it. But guess what happened when my kids, they always got a card. Guess what happened when my kids were old enough to buy insurance? Guess who they bought it from? Anybody guess? Eddie. And because they got these birthday cards all of his life. And so Eddie, that's how he did his business. And when I caught up to him again, we moved, and I was in network marketing, so I unlisted everything, my phones and everything. And so he didn't get my new address, but yet later on in life, I met him just a few years ago before he passed away. He retired and passed away. But we started to enter his Rolodex into another system so he could start doing that stuff. But and automate it. but he ended up having a heart attack and he passed away, and so we didn't get it quite all done. But I'll never forget Eddie. He would write little notes and little poems. And in fact, I'm creating someone I call them story cards, like two horses. That's one that I remember. It talked about two horses, one with a bell, one was blind, and how the horse with the bell would ring, as you moved it, the bell would ring so the other horse would know where to go. And then at the end of that little story, it said that sometimes we're the blind horse and sometimes we're the horse with the bell. And, and I remember it said in there, please be my guide when I need help, and I'll be yours when you need mine. Great little stories, but he'd send those things all the time. He mastered the art of this, but birthdays were his number one goal. So what I did when I first got involved in this kind of business, I was involved with another company. I don't mind saying it was Excel. No, it wasn't Excel. It was send out cards. I was involved in the network market called Excel too, but send out cards. When I first got that system, I worked at a resort. And at the resort, I was in the timeshare division, and I was the redheaded stepchild. And back then, my beard was red. And so I have a little tint red in my hair. Yeah. And no one liked me because it was timeshare and I was at a resort. They owned the hotel, they owned the golf course, they owned the ski resort. And they did not like timeshare, but I did all the marketing. So the first thing I did, especially the hotel, because I was putting people in there and they hated me. Every time there's a lady named Amy there. And every time something would happen, she'd be straight over to my office telling me everything that was wrong with what I was doing. And, and we would get, it was the same hotel, the same resort, but we'd get our discounts on the off seasons. We get a really good discount. And so every department paid every department for whatever they used and stuff. And I got a really good deal, and she hated it. And she didn't like me. She didn't hate me. She just hated what I did. Timeshare. I was in the marketing side. I wasn't in the one that gives all the pressure, but it didn't matter. I didn't sell it, thank goodness. But anyway, so what happened is she would do that. But I decided I wanted I wanted people to know who I was in the resort when I first got there, because I was coming from Utah. This resort was in northern New Mexico. And so what I did is the human resources, I got everybody's birthday, everybody at the resort, part-time, full-time, it didn't matter. And I also got birthdays of the people that worked at the restaurants around there and some of the hotels managers and stuff. And what I did is I started put all these people in campaigns, and I started sending them birthday cards. And I remember Amy at the hotel division, she was over it. And I remember one day she got her birthday card. Her birthday was there, and I didn't even want to send it. Her name came up. I thought, I don't even want to send her one. She was so mean to me and ugly about, to me and stuff. But I sent it anyway. And when I sent it, she got it. Now back then the mail was really slow to New Mexico. It took about 7 days, 6 or 7 days to even get there. New Mexico is the other country, by the way. It literally is. It's like a third world country. Anyway, so anybody from New Mexico that's on here, please say no. Okay, good. All right. So anyway, so I was there, and she gets this card, and it was a mug. It was actually a keg on it, because she was quite a lush. She liked to drink a lot. A lot of people there did, and so it said, party hardy, something like that. Have a great birthday. She came into my office with that card. She threw it on the desk, and she goes, "Why'd you do that?" And I look at her like, "Are you kidding me?" You know what I mean? And I said, "Because it was your birthday." And she goes, and she left the card right on my desk, and she walked off. She goes, "That's the nicest thing anybody's ever done." That was it. And after that, I never had any problems with Amy. And I still send her cards on her birthday. I haven't done it for a few years because I haven't been active in that other company for 3 years. But I got her address again. She hasn't moved, and I started sending her cards. But this time, I sent brownies. And not brownies, cake bars. I'm sending up. And as I started to use that system, though, we started to get gifts, and I started what was called the Brownie Miracle. and I started sending brownies to everybody with a card. And I found out that cards are great, but gifts are better. And there's real power about it. And if you can put their names on it and do this kind of stuff, it's even better than that. And so, but anyway, the bottom line is that I learned really quick how fast and powerful birthday cards were. And I found out a couple of things. That's my son, Chris. Say hi, Chris.
Hey.
Okay, now get out of here. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, he's if you know, he's one of the automators here. And anyway, so one of the things that I learned is that birthday is one of the most powerful time of year that you can send to people, because other than social media, most people don't get gifts in the mail on their birthday. I remember there was a financial planner that was somebody I met in California, and I sent him a gift with brownies and a card a few years back, and I learned something that is really powerful. Somebody was holding up a card. You holding up a card there, or just something like that? Here's my birthday card, by the way. See that? Anybody gotten it yet? And then I just put in there. Now, what I usually do is I didn't do it in that one because I was testing it. But what I do is right here at the very bottom, you can't see it. This one I did a little bit different because it was a networking group. But at the bottom, I always put PS. Call me when you get this. I want to make sure you got your gift, birthday gift. And then on the back of the card, I always put my information. And what I started to do on the back of the cards is I do not put my logo at all. I put my name, my email, and my phone number. And at the very top in the design studio, that's where I put my link, because I don't want it associated with my name. This is a birthday card, but I want the link up there somewhere on the thing where I put the link. And I started doing this, and it's been effective. But what I've started to do is that, anyway, this guy calls me up, and he goes, DeMarr, you realize that you're the only person, not even my family, gives me cards anymore. And he goes, this is incredible. And he started using the system, with that system that I was using. And I've gone back to quite a few of those people, by the way. And anyway, and so what happened is that it's really powerful. And then one time I met a guy at the airport. My wife is very frugal. Do you like these stories, or do you want me to stop and just tell it, get right to the meat and potatoes? Want to hear the stories? Have you heard of them before?
Some of them.
Oh, God, I won't even tell them.
No, not all of them, DeMarr.
No. You've already heard them. You've heard the
Hey,
airport.
I'm a newbie. I haven't heard most of your
You haven't heard the airport one?
No,
I haven't heard it either.
I haven't heard most of your stories yet. So
Okay, well, this one I don't think I've told very much, but I was at the airport. We were going on a cruise, my wife and I, and she's very frugal, and so she got a one of those shuttles, and we were in Fort Lauderdale is where we flew in on flying first class on Southwest. You know what that is, don't you? Business Select. Anyway, and so we flew in there. And she has a hard time spending money on that. You know what I mean? The extra $20 or $25. Anyway, we flew in there, and she got one of those shuttles, and they were late. They were an hour and 15 minutes late. And there was a guy that came in, and he was laughing. I go, Evelyn, let's just get a taxi. No, I already prepaid for it. We're going to go ahead and do it. Anyway, the bottom line is, he's laughed, and he goes, and I said, and he goes, my wife's the same way. And I said, well, do you have a business card? He says, yes. So I got his business card, and I flipped over the card. This is a very powerful thing that I'm teaching you right here. I flipped over the card and gave it back to him, and I said, could I get your birthday? And he said, sure. And he goes, what do you need it for? And I go, because I send birthday gifts to everybody I meet. And sure enough, he obviously gave it to me. And I very rarely, people have told me all over the country, you can't get them here because our people here aren't like that. Everywhere I've gone, New York, everywhere, I've been able to get birthdays. Doesn't matter where you are. If you tell someone you're going to send them a birthday gift, guess what they're going to do? They're going to give you your birthday. And then I always ask if most cards nowadays don't have addresses on them. So I ask them this question. Write this down, take copious notes on this. Because here's what I ask. Is this the address that you want me to send a birthday card and a gift to you for the rest of your life? Now, why do I ask that? Now, if there's no address on there, I say, where do you want me to send a birthday card and a gift to you for the rest of my life? Because that's what I'm going to do. Why do I ask that question? Because I'm looking for their home address, because that doesn't change as much as a business. And they're more apt to get it. I want their home address. Okay, so that's what I do. And then what I do is that I get that information from them. People don't get birthday gifts anymore. And if you want to wow people, send them a birthday card. But everybody now is going in, everybody in BannerSeason, everything, they're going into my birthday campaign. And all of you, if you haven't already, I also have what's called a belated birthday campaign. And that belated birthday campaign is anybody that I didn't have their information or I missed in the last 2 months. And that one I send out immediate if I missed it, and it's a belated campaign. The card is really simple. It just says happy belated birthday. And then I have a non-birthday campaign, and I have that for people who won't give me their birthday. Okay, and then I just pick a day, then that's their birthday. And I just tell them, I don't know what your birthday is, so this is your birthday card this year. Until you tell me what it is, you're going to keep getting it year after year on this day. And that's what I do. And so that's what I do on my birthdays. And again, birthdays are one of the most powerful. I've made most of my money off of birthdays and birthday campaigns. That's what I've done. And you will not, here's the thing. Personalization is what we're talking about here. You're not talking about sending a card and writing a little note. It's an unexpected card for most people, at least the first year. And it's actually unexpected for the first 3 years because they're not expecting you to do it the next year. The next year or the next year. It's the first form of serendipity that I've seen. But what happens is that when you try to write them on their birthday, and a lot of people used to do it at the other company because you used to have to pay for these campaigns up front. But this one you don't have to. With BannerSeason, you don't have to pay anything up front, and just when the card goes out that day. But if you're trying to do them by, just go in there and try to do it real quick, then what's going to happen is that if you try to do it real quick and every day or every month try to write them out and do that, you're going to get lost in them. You're going to lose interest and you're just not going to do it. And that's just from personal experience. I promise you that eventually you'll get burned on your quit. That's why it's so important to automate birthdays. And you'll be the hero. And it's also important for you to teach your clients and your prospects, your customers to automate their birthdays. They'll go out. I can tell you there's hundreds and hundreds of people that I've taught that and used it, and it works really well. So on birthdays, just make sure that you automate it, get it out, put it on your list of your automations. You go into, by the way, you can go into full contact on your computer and fill that out. You'll just have to do a different zap. And I've given, or not a zap, you'll just have to, I can't remember how Chris, if you have any questions about that, talk to Chris on how to do that. You just talk to me today about it. And I don't know how to do it, so he does though. So just got his number or the automation team, they'll tell you how to do that. But you put all in there, throw them in there, and then they'll start sending those birthdays out. Here's my challenge for everybody on this call, and I want you to, and here's the challenge, you write these things down. Here's what you have to do in order to be part of this ongoing. I'm going to start doing this at least 2, maybe 3 times a week. I'm going to have these on different subjects, but this one's on birthdays. Okay. Number 1, here's what you have to do. You have to get 100 people's names, addresses, and birthdays, and you got to get them this week. I said by Monday, but by Wednesday. You all have them on your phone. Whatever you need to do, you need to get them into the system and make sure you create a birthday campaign. And I'm going to challenge you to send a gift with that. You'll make more money than you spend. You may not make it all at once, but it's called the law of large numbers. You start doing this, eventually you'll make more money than you spend. And that's what's important. But if you'll do this for the next 90 days, if you do this religiously, what I tell you to do, you will make more money than you spend. So you need to have 100. And then what I want you to do is every day add one new person. That means that as you go out and about and you get business cards and stuff like that, you add one new person to your birthday campaign every single day. And you're going to get their name and their addresses and their phone and their birthdays. So make sure that you do that every day. Number three. Okay, so you're going to get 100 names and their birthdays and their addresses. Number two, you're going to get one new person every day. Is anybody going to have a problem with this so far? Anybody? Okay, now this is the fun part. Okay, you ready? You have to get 5 people to do the same thing, either off of our social media, BannerSeason book, playbook, or go get your own customers. And that's what I recommend you do, to go do the same thing. 5 people to do the same thing.
Get 100 names with birthdays and addresses.
What are you doing with the 100 names? What do you got to get with the 100 names?
You need to get their birthdays and their addresses.
Right. And then get them in a campaign by the end of the week.
Get them in your system on a campaign.
Okay, what's number 2?
Add a new person every day.
Right.
Right. Is that a problem for anybody?
No.
Okay. Number 3, what is it? Bob, what's number 3?
You caught me muted.
Okay, what's number 3?
Number 3 is getting 5 people to do the same thing. Duplication.
That's right. You think y'all can do that this week?
Get them to join my birthday club.
That's right. Now, I'll tell you, you'll expand your business faster than anything if you do this, and you'll get people doing something they should be doing anyway. And that's, birthdays are the most powerful time. Now, you can do what I did and send them all at once, and wish them a happy birthday. I don't recommend that, but I did that. It's kind of fun, these emails and texts. Thank you for the birthday card. It's not my birthday, but I love these cake bars, and I say, great. How? And these are people that I don't know. And so I'll put on there, so how much do you love them? A lot. Enough that you want to send them to other people on their birthday. And that's what I do. Now, on your campaign, there's one thing that I'm going to require you to do, and that is to put on there a PS. And I don't care how you word it, but something of this effect. Call me when you get my gift. I want to make sure that you received it. Okay, now, there's a reason for that. Number 1, it gives you a second touch just to communicate with them. But probably more important that people don't realize is that nowadays people are afraid to say thank you. They really are, and they don't know how. And so it gives them an opportunity to thank you. And you can say, call me or text me. It depends on what you want, but start doing that. So 5 people. Now, that's the 3rd thing. You want to know what the 4th thing is?
It's the 4th.
Okay. The 4th thing is to challenge those 5 to do the exact same thing you're doing. And what is that?
Duplication.
To find 5 people to do the same thing. So your job is to make sure. So if you find someone they haven't done it by the end of the week, then they don't count. And if they haven't started the process of finding 5 people in a week, then they don't count either. Okay. Now, does this sound exciting?
Yes.
Okay, I'm telling you, you guys are going to make a big difference and an impact. And then I want you to tell your stories online. Share your stories. Share your cards. Share your birthday cards. Make sure that they're fun. I've shown you what mine looks like. Can you see it all? Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
You see that little arrow that's through my head and happy birthday and all that kind of stuff. So have some fun with it. And you can be as simple as this. This is the old, the fast stuff. And then you can also be creative. Yes, someone has their hand here.
Do you find that doing a picture of yourself is more convertible than doing like a big balloons and birthday or holiday or seasonal?
I mean, I like to be funny. If this is just a picture of me, but this is fun. If you've got something that is fun that represents you, and I like to have fun. Yeah, if I was going to do a picture of myself and that wasn't my MO, was fishing. Most people know that fishing is my MO. Even if they don't know me, I make sure that they do know, because I also have a card that I send that's ask them to go fly fishing with me. But
I've seen a number of people post in the Playbook group on Facebook of less kitschy and less clever, funny pictures and just like realtor type pictures. Yeah,
you can do. I try to make it personal. I do not try to logo it up. I don't try to do any of that kind of stuff. But that's just me. I used to have a seminar I used to use that used to be called Never Logo It Up, make it personal. And I used to do that a long time ago. And I'm not a logo kind of guy. And so I try not to do that. I mean, I'll do it once in a while and stuff. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't. There are plenty of people out there also and this is another thing about being part of my group. There's a lot of good people out there that know how to do their own stuff, like Jennifer, like Christy, Amy and stuff like that. I'm going to recommend that you find a designer to use, because there's two things you can do. You can become a designer and you'll have a job doing this. And if you like doing it, that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to make money at this, you don't want everybody coming to you and trying to do that. Now, Amy, I know that I've been using you a lot, but the fact of the matter is that the money's in the message and in sending it out. It's getting people. It's out there touching people. And and if you like doing it, that's okay. I'm not going to have you not say that stuff. But some of you, I've kind of given you a little bit of a difficult time on that, and on that kind of stuff. But the reality is that try to bring someone in that can do that, because as you start to get busy, you will hate doing all the work on that. I promise you will. But there's some funny, clever things you can do. I actually like what Amy did. I like these little pop bubbles. I think they're really clever, and I wish I would have thought of it, because then I wouldn't have to pay for it. I'm kidding. My whole thing is that if I don't think of something and I get the idea from somebody else that's giving it to me, I like to give them credit and give them the opportunity to make money on their work. That's just the way I've always been. It's their copy and stuff like that. But if you've got copy like that, I'm the same way with everybody else. And there are professionals like Amy, and then there's what I call semi-professionals, and those are the ones that claim that they're professionals because they started doing it. Like me, I just started doing it, and I think I'm good at it, and I'm really not that clever. You know what I mean? I usually just go on Google and steal everybody's ideas, which I should. Anyway, I'm kidding. Anyway, but you get the gist of it. So, anybody have any questions about what I just talked about?
I guess what I'm asking you to do is, when they call back and they're excited about the card, what have you, what kind of language do you use? How do you move them from just being an excited recipient into being a customer or being a rep in the company? How do you get them across that transition?
Question. Write this down. There's really good information here. I call it mirroring or mimicking. So if someone calls me and saying, "Wow, that was cool," okay, then I just I say that same thing in a question back. How cool was it? Really cool. Was it cool enough that you'd like to do the same thing to people that you know? Or your relationships? And guess what they're going to say? Yes or no. And either one's okay. Doesn't really matter. The fact that they called you means something. It means that they were excited about it, and there's enough that they may even refer you to other business and, that kind of stuff. And so that's what I ask. And when they say, Yes, I'd love to. Say, okay, then all we need to do is get a little information. I get you started today. Well, how much is it? You know what I mean? You go on to that and say, then what I do is I get them in the system, and then I say, would you like to automate everything like mine is? And if they say, well, how does that work? Just say, I can't believe it. It's only $500, which is it is a steal if you think about it. And they'll automate at least up to 5 campaigns automated from your phone or a CRM if it's available to be able to automate. And that's what I say, or both. And that's how I do that. So did everybody get that down? You can just record it, hear it again. Now I'm having a really hard time with these recordings. I don't know why they keep disappearing. Maybe it's just because Eric. By the way, you do not have to be a technology savvy. I'm very computer illiterate, believe it or not. I have to learn things over and over again. I have to really, really focus on it. And once I learn it, then I got it. But before that, I don't. So anyway, so you got it. So you get that down again. I loved it. They'll say something like, so did you like them? Oh, I loved them. Well, how much did you love them? Mimic it, but in the form of a question. Oh, I loved them. They were so delicious. I only got a bite of one. My husband or my wife ate the other one. I say, great. Do you love it enough that you'd want to do this for someone else? And if they say yes, then say, okay, great. All we need to do is get you a little information. It's not a big deal. Get you started. And then I ask them the question once I get them in the system, and have them load some money, and I say, listen, how would you like to automate it? Do you think and I say, that's what I do, because I'd never remember all of these birthdays and everything if I didn't do it. And then you say, it's only $500. Say, well, that's a little tight for me right now. Say, well, then you ought to just get on the $250 plan. You can always upgrade. That gives you one to get started. And that's how I do it. Now, why do I do that? Because I believe automation is one of the most powerful things you can do. Oh, by the way, no service done too, on cards and gifts and those kind of things. So what other questions? Oh, I have some more questions here. Let's see. So simple, thank you. Okay, thank you. Amy, everybody got it? Clear? What's your assignment? 100. And when you get that list, I don't care if you blurp them out or gray them out, I want you to raise your hand on Facebook. I want to get loud there. I want you to say, I got it, did it, and I've got my 5, and if you only did the list, then just say you got the list. And so you got I got 3 or 2 or 1, so you got doing it. I want you to raise your hand and make it really loud. Did I cover it okay? Make sense? Oh, ebook again. I should have that done. I'm going to have it so that you can use it as a tool to entice people. If you come in now, you get this ebook. It's worth, this much money, you know what I mean? And you can use it, and we'll start using that kind of stuff too.
Hi, I had to step away for a sec. I have a question because I have all my contacts in Excel and all the birthdays I'm putting in there.
Is Excel like a phone company, or is it?
No, Excel, the spreadsheets. No.
You have to match them with, you can sync them into the BannerSeason. You just have to.
Okay, but do I have to format the birthday in a certain way?
No, just on there, it'll say birthday. Yeah, when it's in Excel, if you got a birthday and it's got month, year, if you go to Google, because I had to do this a while ago, and it'll tell you how to separate the month, day, and year.
Oh, you have to parse the month and the day if you're doing it from Excel?
Yeah, you got to separate it so they're different columns.
Okay, all right.
And that's how you get rid of the year, because we don't.
Okay, got it, thanks.
Once you get a certain age like me, you don't want everybody to know how old you are.
Right.
So we don't want you're in there. So we don't know how old you are. Y'all look like you're about 40.
I think the spreadsheet that's already in the contacts that's already designed has the columns separated, because I've already done like 3 uploads.
Yeah, she already has it in an Excel spreadsheet. So I
copy and paste.
I assume.
Yeah, I can do that. That's not a problem.
Yeah, but if they come from another source, I can tell you that birthday is all together.
Right.
You can have the month, and you're going to have to text tab delete.
I understand. I know how to do that.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, you're right. But if it isn't already there, you have to. It's a pain in the butt if there's a lot. of names there. So yes.
I know.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. We're done.
Thank you, DeMarr.
Thank you. Y'all have a Merry Christmas, and I'm going to let this recording download, and I'll get there as soon as I can.
You're awesome.
Again. Okay, thank you. Oh, 3 new messages. Let me see here. I don't remember 40. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't remember 40 either. So I don't remember 30. Anyway. Okay.
Thanks for everything.
You bet. Have a good one. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.